Hello, everyone. In this video today, we're going to be looking at why I believe the betting markets are overestimating Donald Trump's chances in the 2024 election. So I don't think Trump has a 60% chance of winning. I think it's more closer to a 50-50 type election. And I'm going to go into why Trump is being overestimated. First off, we're going to start off with Polymarket and what I think is wrong with their current electoral forecast. So I think we'll start off with this French guy. So someone from France has bet $25 million on Trump in the Pennsylvania market, in just the presidential winner market, and in the popular vote market. He has multiple accounts because apparently you can't bet that much money in each of those markets. But he has four separate accounts, each betting millions of dollars, which in total adds up to $25 million. So this is kind of artificially inflating Trump's odds on Polymarket specifically. It's giving him a huge percentage boost. It's like 8 or 9, maybe even 10% boost to Trump. That one better is doing that much to boost Trump's odds up into this market. And we'll also take a look at Predict It, which I generally think is a lot more fair. I think anywhere from a 55 to 45 range, I think that's a fair rating to put the race either way. And they have it a lot more closer. They have Harris with at least 54 to 48. If we rebalance those prices, it'd probably be about 53 to 47. But they have a lot more fair prices, and this one kind of makes a lot more sense, honestly. But that's the current price on Predict It. Polymarket, there's a big difference here. But we look at last time in the 2022 Senate elections with Polymarket, gamblers historically aren't really the best at predicting elections. In 2016, they thought that Hillary Clinton would win the election, like massively, like 80 cents to 20 cents, like especially in Predicted. I think that was the pricing. In 2020, they thought Biden would narrowly win. They got it right. But in 2022, they had Republicans winning 54 Senate seats to the Democrats' 46, and that didn't happen. It was 51 Democrats to 49 Republicans. So they aren't really the best way to determine who's going to win. So their current map, which is something like this is currently what, oh, did not mean to zoom in. This is currently what Polymarket thinks will happen in the election. I think that Trump will win 312 electoral votes to Kamala Harris's 226. And I do think that's a pretty big overestimation of him because we currently look at the statewide polling averages here. Let's scroll on down. Arizona, I will say this state is leaning towards Donald Trump. I do agree with that categorization. Let's take a look at Michigan. So far, Harris is still up in the polling averages here. It's been a lot closer lately, but there's been a lot of Republican internal polls. And I'll also get into that. Republican internals are flooding these polling averages right here, which is why a lot of these races are tightening up, like Michigan, which I still think is a lean Democratic state, honestly. They're flooding the polling averages here. Fabrizio lead, another Fabrizio poll they've conducted here. But other pollsters say something different. Quinnipiac did say that Trump was ahead here, but those crosstabs were a bit questionable with what was going on in them. Young voters going to Trump's probably not going to happen. But if we take a broad look at this, it only started near the end here where a bunch of Republican polls that are typically not the most accurate have been flooding these averages here. Let's take a look at Nevada. Nevada looks kind of the best of the bunch for Harris. The Republican internals, they still have come out saying Trump's up by 1, but even Trafalgar says that that's not the case. But again, that's influencing the betting markets, all these Republican internal polls. And this is kind of similar to what we saw in the 2022 Senate race, where a bunch of junk Republican pollsters have come in saying they're going to have a red wave, they're going to win 240 House seats, they're going to win 54 Senate seats. A lot of those junk pollsters have come in. But in reality, this race is a lot closer than this map, and I would probably draw the map out like this. These are the toss-ups. I'd probably say it's 226 to 230. I think Trump's got a pretty solid lead in Arizona. And I think this race, a lot of these are pretty much neck and neck. North Carolina and Georgia, for example, These states are polling with only a 1 point lead for Trump. Georgia, it's only a 1 point lead. Same with North Carolina. It's also even less than a 1 point lead. So, again, I do think Trump's being overestimated in these polls, like we're seeing right now. And it's not all of a sudden Trump suddenly became the more moderate figure in this race. He hasn't really changed much of his policies from 2020. A lot of them are the same. In some ways, he went more even right wing. So I think more moderates going to be ending up leaning towards Kamala Harris, like we're already seeing them lean towards her in the polling as well. But again, I think these betting markets, they're greatly overestimating Trump's chances, and we're seeing all these crypto people just betting millions on Trump, especially that one guy in France betting $25 million, which is like, I wonder how rich that guy is. Is that all his life savings that he's pulling all on the line on these races? Because you can take a look at some of the pricings here. Georgia being this much in favor of Trump, I think it's more of a tilt R categorization. North Carolina being this much in favor of Trump, his own internals only have him up by 1 point in North Carolina, so I think this is a much closer race here. Pennsylvania, this pricing's like insane, and this is one state where that $1 million bettor is putting a lot of money on Trump winning. This pricing just doesn't even make sense at all. I mean, you could take a look at Pennsylvania polls here, and it's actually Harris still leading, and in all the high quality polls, she's up too. If we take a look at the Tip Insights poll here, the likely voter sample is also put into question because they pretty much removed the entire Philadelphia part of the poll in their likely voter sample. Well, in the registered voter sample, 90% of Philadelphia is still there. So they removed 90% of it to get a result where Trump's narrowly ahead. So it kind of seems like they were manipulating the poll to give that lead to Trump. It doesn't really make sense to pretty much get rid of Philadelphia in that poll by such a large margin. But again, we look at the Republican internals here. Trump's only up by 1 to 2 points. In independent, high quality polls, Harris is up. So again, it's a toss up state here. And I think that a lot of gamblers here in Polymarket are not making the wisest decision with their money. They're assuming a third polling error will happen in favor of Trump for a third time in a row for him. And I don't think that's really likely because pollsters have fixed their polls since then. In 2022, they even overshot Republicans, and COVID isn't a thing anymore. COVID was a big reason why 2020 polls were wildly off because a lot of Republicans weren't at home answering polls, while Democrats were a lot more widely available because they took COVID a lot more seriously. But I digress. This is basically, I think, Polymarket in general is just overestimating Trump's odds. I think it's more of a 50-50 race right here, just based on all the data we're seeing. Even the early vote data looks pretty good for Democrats in Michigan and in Pennsylvania. So, again, that's just my current take. I think it's definitely overestimating Trump here, and I don't think Trump has a 60% chance. I think it's more like a 50-50 race as of right now. But, yep, that's the video basically. So let me know down in the comments below you agree or disagree with my take that betting markets are overestimating Trump. Let me know down in the comments below. And what do you think the odds of Harris or Trump winning the election are? Right now, I think it's pretty close to a 50-50 race. But if you're new to this channel and you enjoy content like this, I'd greatly appreciate if you were subscribed to the channel. It'd mean a lot. And thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.